Imagine a time long after the great waters had receded and the earth began anew. Humanity was not a scattered tapestry of cultures and tongues. Instead, a single, unified family. They lived together on a wide, sweeping plain in a land called Shinar. In this dawn of civilization, every person shared a singular gift, a common bond that tied them all together. They all spoke the very same language. Every thought, every idea, every emotion could be shared without a single word being lost. A world of absolute clarity and seamless communication. A community woven from a single, unbroken thread of speech. This unity was a powerful force. When one person had an idea, everyone could understand it instantly. Groups worked in perfect sync, like a well-rehearsed orchestra. No barriers of dialect, no confusing accents, no need for interpreters. A joke made everyone laugh. A sorrow was felt by all. Humanity in its infancy. A collective consciousness. A single people, a single mind, a singular moment of harmony. Imagine that simplicity. Each morning the sun rose on people who knew they belonged together. They shared their meals, their labors, their dreams with effortless ease. Children played games everyone understood. Elders passed down stories that landed the same in every heart. Not mere convenience, the foundation of society, the glue that let them build, to create, and to thrive across the open plains. But in this perfect harmony, a seed was planted, a seed of thought born from shared understanding and collective strength. What could such a united people achieve? They looked at the world they had built, at the families they had raised, and then they looked up, toward the vast, endless heavens, the sky, distant stars and untouchable blue, a new frontier. Their unity gave them strength, and with it a daring question. What are our limits? And more importantly, should there be any limits at all? In the heart of this united people, a new idea began to take shape, whispered from one person to another, until it became a roaring chorus. They looked at their settlement on the plain of Shinar. And while it was their home, it felt temporary, insignificant against the backdrop of the immense sky. They were a single people, yet they had no single monument to their name, no lasting legacy to prove their existence. "Come," they said to one another, their voices ringing with shared excitement. "Let us make a name for ourselves." This was not just about building a shelter. This was about building an identity, a symbol of their power, a symbol of their unity that would echo through the ages. Their ambition soared as high as their gaze. They decided they would not just build a city, but a city with a tower, a magnificent structure whose top would reach into the heavens themselves. This tower would be more than just brick and mortar. It would be a statement. It would be a testament to what humanity could achieve when it worked as one. They imagined a spire so tall that it would pierce the clouds, a landmark visible from every corner of the earth. In their minds, this tower would serve as a rallying point, a permanent anchor to prevent them from ever being scattered. It was a plan born of pride, a desire to secure their legacy and control their own destiny. The leaders and the builders gathered, their minds working in perfect unison. They saw this tower as their masterpiece, a way to challenge the very boundaries between the earth and the heavens. "Let us build a tower that reaches the sky," they declared, "so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered." There was a deep-seated fear in this ambition, a fear of being forgotten, of being dispersed, and losing the very unity that made them so strong. The tower was their answer to this fear, their defiant shout into the cosmos, declaring that they were here, they were one, and they would not be moved or broken apart by the whims of fate or nature. The plains of Shinar soon transformed into a bustling hub of industry and creation. The people discovered a new way to build, a technology born from their unified ingenuity. "Come," they said with industrious zeal, "let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They moved beyond using simple stones and mud. Instead, they molded clay from the riverbanks into uniform blocks, then hardened them in fiery kilns until they were as strong as rock. For mortar, to bind these bricks together, they used tar, a sticky black substance that seeped from the earth. This innovation was a revolution in construction, allowing them to build faster, stronger, higher than ever before. The construction site was a marvel of coordinated effort, a symphony of human labor playing out under the hot sun. Thousands of people worked together, each with a specific role, all communicating seamlessly. Some dug the clay, others molded the bricks, while teams of workers managed the intense heat of the kilns. Long lines of people passed the finished bricks, buckets of tar, a living conveyor belt that snaked its way up the rising structure. There were no misunderstandings, no wasted movements. Every action was precise, every instruction clear. The air was filled with the sounds of work, songs of encouragement, shouts of shared purpose. Day by day, week by week, the tower grew. It rose from the flat earth like a great square-shouldered giant, a testament to their relentless drive. The people would stop at the end of each day, their bodies tired but their spirits soaring, and gaze up at what they were creating. The tower's shadow stretched longer across the plain with every passing sunset, a physical manifestation of their growing pride and power. They were not just building a structure, they were building their legend. The excitement was palpable, a current of energy that flowed through the entire community. They were achieving the impossible, together. As the tower climbed higher, it became the center of their universe. It dominated the skyline, a constant reminder of their collective goal. From the heavens, God looked down and saw the city and the tower that the children of men were building. He saw their unity, their ingenuity, and their incredible progress. He observed not just the structure of brick and tar, but the structure of their hearts. He saw a people bound together, not by humility and love, but by a towering ambition and a self-serving pride. They were not building to honor anything beyond themselves. They were building to make a name for themselves, to ascend to the heavens on their own terms, and to seize a glory that was not theirs to take. This was an act of defiance, an attempt to make themselves the center of their own universe. God understood the potential of their unity. He said, "Behold, the people are one, and they have all one language." And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them. He saw that their shared language and purpose gave them limitless potential. If they could achieve this, what would they imagine next? Their pride, left unchecked, would lead them down a path of ever greater arrogance, a path that would ultimately lead to their own self-destruction. Their unity, which could have been a source of great good, had become a catalyst for hubris. A course correction was needed, not as a punishment, but as an act of mercy. So, God decided not to destroy the tower with a flood or a fire. He would not demolish their creation. He would demolish their ability to create it. The plan was simple: to go down and confuse their language so that they may not understand one another's speech. The very tool that had enabled their incredible rise, their perfect, seamless communication, would be the thing that was taken away. And so, with a decision made in the celestial courts, a change began to sweep over the land of Shinar. It was not a thunderous event, but a quiet, creeping confusion. The confusion began slowly, like a single misplaced note in a grand orchestra, but it quickly swelled into a deafening cacophony of chaos. One moment, a worker on the high scaffolding called down for more bricks, and the next, the words that came out of his mouth were an unfamiliar jumble of sounds. A foreman shouted instructions, but his crew looked back at him with blank, uncomprehending stares. The perfect symphony of cooperation began to falter, replaced by a discordant and baffling noise. The single clear stream of human language had been fractured into 1,000 babbling brooks. A bricklayer would ask his partner for a tool, but the words he spoke were not the words his partner heard. Instead of a trowel, he might be handed a bucket of water. Frustration mounted instantly. What was once a simple request now required frantic gesturing and exasperated shouts. But even these were misunderstood. The fluid grace of their teamwork evaporated, replaced by clumsy, inefficient, and aggravating attempts to communicate. The construction site, once a model of perfect unity, ground to a halt. Imagine the panic and the fear that spread through the crowds. People turned to their friends and family and could no longer understand them. A husband could not comprehend his wife's words. A mother could not understand her child's cry. The shared thoughts and feelings that had bound them together were suddenly locked away inside each individual, trapped behind an invisible wall of new, strange languages. Suspicion began to replace trust. Was this person mocking me? Was that group plotting against us? The single human family was breaking apart from the inside out. The tower itself, the grand symbol of their unity, now stood as a monument to their division. Work stopped completely. With their lines of communication severed, the people of Shinar had no choice but to abandon their grand city and their unfinished tower. The small groups that had formed around the newly created languages began to drift apart. Each group, now a fledgling tribe or nation, set off in a different direction, seeking a new home. They journeyed north, they journeyed south, they journeyed east, they journeyed west, driven by the fundamental need to be with those who could understand them. As they traveled, they took their new languages with them. The single voice of humanity had been replaced by a chorus of diverse tongues, each one carrying the seeds of a new culture. They settled in valleys, on mountainsides, along coastlines, in vast forests. In their isolation from one another, these languages grew and evolved, becoming even more distinct over generations. New traditions were born. New ways of seeing the world were formed. New stories were told to explain their sudden and confusing separation. The city they left behind became known as Babel, a name derived from a word meaning to confuse. This scattering was the birth of the world as we know it today, a world of incredible diversity. It created the rich tapestry of nations, cultures, languages that spans the globe. From this one event, countless unique societies emerged, each with its own art, music, laws, beliefs. What began as a tool of division ultimately became a source of human richness. The story of the Tower of Babel is more than just an ancient tale about a failed construction project. It is a profound exploration of the human condition, a timeless warning against excessive pride, or what the ancient Greeks called hubris. The people of Shinar believed their unity made them invincible, that their collective power gave them the right to challenge the heavens. This ancient story challenges us to find a balance. It teaches us to celebrate unity and collaboration, but to temper it with humility. True strength is not found in building towers to our own glory, but in working together for a greater good. At the same time, it encourages us to embrace different languages and different cultures. Instead of seeing them as barriers, we can see them as different facets of the same human diamond. Understanding and respecting these differences, rather than trying to erase them in pursuit of a single uniform identity, is the path to a truer, more resilient form of global unity.